Hello, out there, middle aged gamers. We are back today, and we are going to be going over some of the worst games that we've played this year because not everything always comes off perfectly. So, yeah, unfortunately, it has been a great year for the most part, but unfortunately, some things just, yeah, don't come out the way you want them to. Either you play them and they're not living up to your hype, or you read the reviews and they just aren't doing great, but for whatever reason, they didn't come out great. So that is what we're going to be talking about today. I'm sorry if that intro wasn't quite up to Phil's specs, but hopefully we'll be okay. All right, so we're just gonna hop right into it. We don't have Korean today, but yeah, since
Oh no.
yeah, Korean doesn't like negativity, so that's why we're covering all the
Yes.
all the bad stuff today, so we can get it out of the way, so that way he can talk about happy things next week. All right, so who would like to begin with their first terrible game of 2021? Got what
All
you were.
right. Welcome to welcome to Renting All Man now.
That's
This
right.
is all negativity today. Yay.
That's right. We're all exactly. So,
All right.
yeah. So,
I'm
Antoine, you
gonna
want to?
start.
All right, Antoine's going to start for us.
Yeah. I'm gonna start because you will see something very, very typical. I don't know if it's still the same today, but at least in the 90s and in video games reviews, it was exactly like this. Some times ago, at the beginning of when I arrived, I talked about Pine, and Pine sounded fantastic. Just to remind you, the setting it's kind of post-apocalyptic, if you will, island where the last humans live all alone at the top of a mountain, and they're very afraid of going down the mountain because there's some creatures who could eat them or whatever down there. So it's a very nice setting. I did a half an hour video on all the introduction slash tutorials, and it's super cool. It's very cute. The gameplay is fantastic. The stories sound good, and I really, really recommended this game when I took it out. I remember it was a free on Epic at the time. And so for the video, I finished at the introduction after say about 1 hour more, give or take. And if I was a journalist working for a review magazine at the time, I would have given a 95%. Yes, jump on it. It's a fantastic game. But after I played a bit further, and you can start seeing the flaws. Uh, it's a game which is very much Breath of the Wild type of open world with 5 tribes which are not friendly with each other. So you have a great amount of diplomacy in this game. The only issue is that when you state like this, Breath of the Wild, 5 different tribes, some of them at a war with each other, you could do a lot of very interesting stuff with your character who's trying to, bump up a bit humanity in there because they are really on their, like this toll. I don't know how you say it in English, but they're not really in a good position at the moment. So what happens is that this tribe, basically, you just collect some mushroom or plants or whatever somewhere, drop them at a hotel, and that increase your reputation. And that's it. You go to the village and you can't, apart from the merchant, you can't talk to anyone. There's no quest in every different village, and there's some things ridiculous like you go to give some mushrooms to the fox tribe, and they don't like each other with the bull tribe. The bull tribe have never seen you. They don't know what you look like, but if you go within walking distance of them, they attack you on sight. That's weird. So this is the kind of things which is really disappointing because it could have been very fun, but giving mushroom to the foxes meaning that as soon as you go to a part of an island that you need to go explore, meaning you're attacked on sight with other tribes, and that's really tiring, especially that the diplomacy matter between different tribes change all the time, so you never know when you're gonna get attacked. That's just not fun, and that's a shame because the weapon system, all of this is very much copied on Zelda, of course, but it works. It really works. The puzzles are fun, and it really was something that I really wanted to play. And after like first hour fantastic, 1 hour after that was like I don't want to keep doing this anymore. It's just that's just not working. So started well, ended terribly, and that's for me is although if it's not a terrible game, huh? But for me that's the worst game I played this year. Unfortunately, this and Dark Alliance with Phil, but I think he talked about it quite a lot. So
So, is there like a meter or something when you're working with the different tribes where it like kind of goes up a little bit, or is it just like literally just black and white where it's like, oh, now we're on this side and the other ones
it's
are against me, and it just flips?
it's a very creative meter, which is unfortunately very tricky to watch because each tribe is represented by some kind of logo, like the foxes are fangs and whatever. And so you have the relationship in a kind of totem with all the logos and going up and down in some kind of a wheel. Green is good, white would be neutral, red would be at war, and you have a little arrow for each tribe. And honestly, I was looking at them like, so they are at war with who? Oh, okay. And I come back 10 minutes later. Oh, it changed again. Oh, I'm not gonna go on an adventure thinking, okay, so who's happy with who at the moment? And in 10 minutes, who's gonna be? You should take notes of this, and I just don't want to take notes of this. This should have been a simpler system to tell you where you're gonna be engaged on site.
So what's the goal of the game? Are you trying to unite the tribes or?
Not no 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 no. You're trying to find a way for human to survive because the mountain they are living on is slowly crumbling. So you don't really have a quite a small territory at first, and it's getting worse and worse. And at some point, it's gonna all go down. So you need to find a new place for humans to survive, and that goes through making alliance through resources. The whole point of the game is that too many people for a small island, not enough resources. Some people are gonna die. That's why they're always at war, and you can't have everybody happy. It's not. That's not like this. So that's the thing. Humans have to find their place in this very dangerous and wild world that they don't know at all. Again, the pitch is fantastic. I really love this kind of pitch. It's not all rosy. You have to, kill and step on some other tribes to, be able to eat tonight. Such a shame.
Are there survival elements to it? Like, do you have to eat, or is it mostly just
You have to eat.
exploration?
It has been a while, but yes, you have to eat. You have to collect some food. You have to craft. There's a lot of crafting in it. There's even crafting in it. There's everything for me to be happy about it. That's why I'm so sad talking about it this way.
Aw,
There's crafting, there's food, yeah,
that is disappointing.
a
But
bit, yeah, very much.
yeah, you have any questions, Phil?
I do, but kind of linked to that because Breath of the Wild 2 is due out next year.
I think so, but it's gonna be delayed, I guess.
So this was a disappointment for you. So will you bother getting the second one?
That's not Breath of the Wild, though. That's Pine.
Yeah, but you said it was very
This is
similar
the-
to Breath of the Wild.
Legend.
It's the open world and the mechanics.
So this isn't Breath of the Wild.
No.
No,
It just looks a lot like Breath of the Wild.
Okay, I was going to say, because I don't really play Zelda games, as we've established previously.
Yeah.
So they kind of
But-
it looks samey enough. So what's the difference between this and Breath of the whatever thing you're talking about?
Genshin Impact, Breath of the Wild, Pine, it's all. See the design, the cartoony design, the open world, the fact that you get bonus when you eat. I don't know. There's like endurance matter. If you run, you lose your you lose your breath. You have to stop to take a breather. Lots of things like this, like the weapon system with the how you call this in the slingshot. Bow and arrow weapon system is very similar. Lots of things very much inspired.
So what is it that's different? Because you like Breath of the Wild, right? but you think
I
this is a
love
load of
Breath of the
crap.
Wild
So what's
because
the what are the features that define that?
it's not in the gameplay or the mechanics this works. It's in the storytelling and the world in general. In Breath of the Wild, the world works, and maybe part of it's because all the tribes are more or less friendly with each other, or at least they don't interact with each other. So each tribe has their own quest, has their own storytelling, and it really interacts well. And for the few moments that all the tribes interact between each other, it works. Here it doesn't because it's not deep enough. You know, you go into a village with foxes. You imagine like you could talk to, maybe not all individual, but at least a good amount of individual to have some background, some story, some lore. But it could have been empty. It would be the same because apart from the merchant that you can buy a couple of stuff if you're friendly with. So if you're not friendly with the tribe, like at the beginning, if you're in your neutral, you can't buy anything. So you really need to be friendly with the tribe to buy stuff. Then it could be as empty. It could be an empty field that be the same, and that's a shame because there's some good mechanics. I was talking about resources is very important in this world, and you see the little foxes going out and taking resources in front of you. You could have taken this mushroom, but he beat you to it. He took it in front of you, so you have to go further to get stuff, to get other stuff. So the mechanics are really well thought. Is the environment, the background really it's not well woven. I don't know if they lacked time to put some deep story into each tribe, but it's lacking. It's really really lacking.
But this won't put you off grabbing Breath of the Wild 2.
No way.
No, full time
Really?
shot. Okay, yeah, cool.
I love Zelda. I love Breath of the Wild. What would put me off playing Breath of the Wild rather than watching a stream is that if you really want to play Breath of the Wild and do every single puzzles and mission, you have a good 80 hours in front of you, and I don't have this kind of time. But I really love it, and I would be very happy to watch my French streamers that I watch all the time because he's a really fun guy and he plays very well. So I'll be
My
watching
last,
it definitely.
my last quiz question almost because I got looped into. Oh, what was the award? The award was. Give me a second. Nominated for the Game Award for Most Anticipated Game.
For Pine?
Breath of the Wild 2. I'm sorry, I'm
Oh yeah.
getting
Oh,
segued on
okay,
Breath of the Wild
okay.
2. I don't know why. I'm just there we go. That's how
Of
the internet
course.
took me. But yes, it is in the Game Awards 2001 Most Anticipated Game winner. So, along with Breath of the Wild 2, what are the other 4 games in the nomination shortlist?
For 2002?
Horizon Forbidden West.
2022 Most Anticipated Game Award.
Forbidden West.
Forbidden West, yeah.
Forbidden
That's
West,
today.
yes. Horizon Forbidden West is 1. There's 3 more.
2002. No, yes. There's no Elder Scrolls or Cyberpunk's coming out this year.
There's no GTA either.
Yeah, there's no GTAs.
We've covered at least 2 of these, maybe even all 3 of them.
Elden
In
Ring.
previous Elden Ring, yes.
There's no Final Fantasy then. I
Oh,
guess
does
not.
16 come out next year? I don't
No,
think they
not
have set a
next
release date yet, have they? Okay, so it's Elden Ring, Horizon Zero, Horizon Forbidden West, Breath of the Wild 2.
Two.
Wait, we're looking for 1 more or 2 more?
2 more.
2
Is
more.
it console or PC games?
One's on everything. One's like a big chain, like series.
Oh, God of War Ragnarok.
God of War Ragnarok is there. Yes, it is.
That's gonna be the other console one, and then the one that's
And
on
one's,
everything.
Uh,
What's the
well,
last one?
not on PlayStation apparently.
Okay.
Action role playing video game.
Not on PlayStation. On Switch though.
Xbox Series X, Series S, and Microsoft Windows.
Okay, well if it's action, it's not going to be Halo Infinite, but that comes out
November the
this year.
11th, right at the end of the year. Blimey, people got to wait a long time.
No clue.
No idea.
Bethesda Game Studios. If that helps.
Oh, Starfield.
Nope. Starfield, yes. That's your last one.
How can Bethesda game be anticipated?
They always, all their games are anticipated. Whenever they have a game come out, everyone's like, yeah.
People
Because-
will learn at some point.
No, they'll never learn. Because the games get modded. And that's why people
Yes.
love them, because they're really easy to mod.
Oh wait, could you mod Fallout 76?
Oh yeah.
You could.
It was
Okay.
it was made with mod support in mind. That was part of it. That's
Okay,
why
so here's a game,
Yeah.
but fix it yourself. We know it's broken, fix it yourself.
yeah, that was the whole thing with the Creators Club, because people could create content for it and then put it up, and then but then people would have to pay real money for it. And that was the whole thing, was people were like, why are we paying for mods that we can get for free?
Exactly.
But yeah.
Look at Skyrim. How many
Yeah.
mods on Skyrim?
Exactly. So that was because of Fallout 76, I think, mostly. Yeah.
Apparently, Elden Ring won the most anticipated game award last year. I mean, come on. Surely you can't wear it multiple years, or they just keep it rolling for like 6 years. Just like six 6 years running, we have the award for most anticipated game.
I think it was because it was postponed, probably. So it was probably meant to release in 2021, and then was pushed back to 2022, probably.
Well, they're saying that it might even be later now. On this, it says there's been no
2023.
news, and people are worried that it's going to be cancelled or it's stuck in development hell because there's been nothing released since the initial announcement trailer.
No, they did. They
On
did the
Elden-
beta,
on
and all
Elden
those
Ring?
people were able to
They
do.
did a beta.
Yeah, they did a beta. There were all those people doing videos
Where
of
is
it.
this from? Published 5 days ago. That's not what this guy on Game Rant says. He disagrees with you. He says you guys know nothing, Jon Snow. Jon Snow.
Jon Stone.
Jon Stone. Jon Stone.
Yeah,
Sounds
they
like a
had those
weather
people.
reporter.
Yeah, that was like what, last month or something.
Oh, a week or two ago at least.
Yeah, there were people doing. They had a beta, the closed beta, and people were doing it. I don't know. All right. Well, Phil, do you have a game you want to talk about? Are you still thinking about it?
Oh, wait, sorry. The next paragraph, then he says, but now there's a ton. Okay, so maybe, I don't know. I just-
Nothing's coming out, but now
Why
there is.
spend the entire intro of your first paragraph saying, oh, there's been no news about this, everything's going to be cancelled, the next comment saying, oh, but now there's a lot of information.
Clickbait.
Yeah, great, dude. Thank you. Now I look like a fool.
It's all clickbait.
All right.
10 worst games. I always have bad years, to be honest. I always seem to pick games that I don't particularly end up enjoying, and I don't really know why. I should stick to being more. I've had some okay games. Like I finally getting into Vermintide 2, and I'd never played that before. And Outriders was swing and a miss, but I think at the end I kind of liked it, and I did play it like crazy. But there's 2 games this year, and again, like we've already talked about, Dark Alliance being upsetting, and to be honest, not a stage below what Vermintide is. So I'm going to go with one of my mobile phone games, Warhammer Chaos and Conquest, which I've played for about the last few years, I think 2 or 3 years, base building, and I've got videos on the channel which cover some statistics and tactics and things to pay attention to and which commanders to use. And to be honest, it wasn't a very good game, to be fair. And if it hadn't have been for the Warhammer skin and all of the characters and stuff, I probably wouldn't have continued playing it for as long as I did. But they've just made a long line of progressive decisions that have taken the game down, heavily milking the final whales that linger in the game. And it's just kind of driven everybody away. And I think they just had a couple of really bad policy decisions over the summer. Wait, what month are we in now? Yeah, sort of like through the summer. They made like 3 or 4 really bad decisions that a lot of people didn't like. They wanted to, they always try and merge servers together so that all of a sudden the whales or the big groups with the spenders will continue to spend. And they had like a lot of expansions, but the expansions were always about one server versus another server, and one was always ridiculously overpowered and twice as strong as the other. And there was never any real balance between all of the servers. So because there's never a balance between the servers, you could never have any event that was particularly really well balanced. Maybe there was like out of the 10 servers playing, there was maybe 2 that were kind of similar-ish and maybe 2 that were kind of similar-ish, and all the rest were just on like a scale progression of terrible to we've been playing this game for 4 years and we're going to kill you. And because of this, just all the events were no fun. So they made an expansion, which was like an Ulthuan area. This was like last year, I think, around Christmas-ish, I think. But the event was just you go to an island and everybody can go onto that island from all of the servers, and you can take some special cities and you can get special rewards. But of course, in the first 6 or 7 months of this event, there was only ever the very oldest and the best server that just claimed everything and got all of the prizes. So everybody else was just feeding off scraps. And they did some mergers and they tried to make some balance. And there was like 1 or 2 other servers which were in, could potentially fight for these prizes. But everybody else was just pointless. You duck and cover and try and roll and get whatever little scrapes of rewards you could get or special tokens and icons, but it just wasn't really fun. And they just continued to do this on they changed the policy. So every 3 weeks, 1 week you got linked up with another server for a server war, which, like I said, was always either horrifically in your favor or against you. And then 1 week was this Ulthuan area, which was just the main biggest 1 or 2 servers would win all the prizes. And then there was 1 week, which would be all of the groups inside of your server fight each other for dominance on the cities. And again, most of the servers are so well established that there was always 1 group that were just head and shoulders above everybody else, and they claimed all of the cities and they got all the prizes. So there was just no balance with it. I feel like they kind of developed the game in a way that was becoming increasingly obvious that they just wanted to milk as much money as they could. And so no surprises when Lord of the Rings came out. Similar-ish mobile phone, base building, units going through, but with far more tactics and seasons and all those type of events. A good chunk from our clans, from our servers, and from the game in general, from reading the Discord, sort of all jumped ship and went, well, if we're going to invest our time and play games heavily, we're not just going to do it for the chat in a system. We're not just going to do it anymore for the skins of which models you've used over it. We're going to go somewhere that's just more appreciative of the community, more engaging, and a game that's going in the right direction. Or in this case, something that's just started, so they can properly get in from the ground up. So I think it's been a bad year, and it's been pretty sad because it's a game that I got my dad to play because my dad's always been into computer. He used to do my RuneScape farming when I was at school, back from like, how many years ago was that, without showing my age, but decades ago, many decades. And yeah, so I would go to school and then I would come back and he would have just fished a fishing node or mined the mining node like he used to do in RuneScape. And I eventually got 99. So we've always had computer games as sort of like a little bit of a chill out, and he always asked me what to do, what to build, and stuff like that. So it's sad because we've been playing this one for like 2 years, and well, to be honest, he still has no idea what he's doing. But I do need to get him into Lord of the Rings so he can kill himself on that game instead of Warhammer Chaos and Conquest. But he is bad because he is one of those people who has no issue with spending money. So he can quite easily and happily maybe spend $150 every weekend. And then, my mum gets the credit card bill and she's like, what's $600? What is Warhammer Chaos and Conquest? And I'm just like, oh, shut up, woman. It's my money. I can do what I want, blah, 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 blah. So, well, I mean, she buys everything she wants. They're in that comfy stage now, but they're both retired. They've got, plenty of pensions. They don't really have the anything to worry about. So,
we'll burn out before the money does.
I think a lot of these games are kind of marketed towards those people that are either retired or they've got a lot of free time and, they're more than willing to just go, yeah, okay, $100. So I will probably get him to do the shift because he's still playing this game and I haven't played it since like June or July, and he still messages me and says, oh, can you sort my armies out? Can you please sort my research out? Can you please do this? I'm like, Dad, I've not played it for like 5 months. I've forgotten everything. But yeah, I guess you guys have always complained about mobile phone games being like sort of that the pay to I suppose you guys have more encountered the pay to play rather than the pay to win aspect of these type of games.
Yeah, for me it's just yeah, the kind of the pay to play. Yeah, especially the like the energy systems where you can only do so much and then you have to stop and yeah, and or you can pay money and then you can continue playing. Yeah.
Because Crean's not here, and I bet it would have been interesting because it would have been interesting to ask him, does he encounter that in Hearthstone? Because I think he's probably the only one who plays. Well, I know you can play it on the mobile phone, you can play it on Steam as well, but like a mobile phone game where you can pay to play, you pay to win. Sorry, in that a new pack comes out, and you can just invest $1,000 or $5,000 and just presumably buy out the pack. I guess I'm not entirely sure if that's how Hearthstone works.
Hearthstone is when it comes out, it's kind of like any real world trading card game where if you buy more packs, then you have a higher chance of getting better cards. But it's like a real world game, like if you were playing Pokemon or Magic, where you buy a pack and you don't necessarily know, the theme of the pack, but you don't know necessarily what's in it. So sometimes you might get really good cards, a lot of them at once, and sometimes you probably don't. But the more money you spend, the higher chances you are of getting better cards.
Yeah, I was going to say, sure, if you invest $5,000 or something on a pack,
Yeah, you're gonna have
pretty
lots
well.
of you're gonna have every card you want, but you're gonna have lots of cards that you don't want either. So, so yeah. And to my knowledge, there's no
So
trading system. So
just a question: it's Warhammer 40k or is it a fantasy one?
It
Is that the
is
one?
fantasy.
It's
okay, so I
fantasy.
got the right picture.
No, because I wanted to say that Games Workshop usually is terrible at giving the license to video game maker, editors, and stuff. I don't know for fantasy because they did a Total War, which was great, but the 40k usually are really bad games. I really hated the what was the name? The Dawn of War. Yeah, Dawn of War. The Inquisitor was okay. But Game Workshop, please.
I quite like Dawn of War, actually.
Really. The first one was okay. The second one, the third one, no.
Was that the RTS one?
It's not really RTS. No, it's more like action.
Okay.
Top
No,
down.
wait, you might.
Don't play too many 40k
What?
games.
No, the Dawn of War is like the RTS, like the base builder. Loads of
Depends on
expansions.
which one you're talking about. 1, 2, or 3.
Wait, what? I think we're talking about different games now.
I have friends that play a lot of 40k, and they're kind of the same thing. Where every time a 40k game comes out, they're like, "Oh, yeah, finally they're gonna make a good one," and then every time it's like, "Oh no, this was terrible." I think the only one they like was maybe the original Space Hulk. They like that one.
This one, but it's really, and I think a lot of people told them, Game Workshop, you have a fantastic license here. Cherish it. Stop giving us crap with it. Really. Even the
Except,
movies they made.
Battlefleet Armada is solid though. That's one of the games that's very close to. But then again, I always loved Battlefleet Gothic, both the books and also the board game, because it worked a little bit more strategically. And, launching all the fighters and the bombers and everything. But
anyone waiting for Total War 3? Not sure if
I
it's
need to
out
get
or
into
not.
it. I've kind of missed it because I only just got into playing with my laptop, but I should. Apparently, you should get in from the first one because the story continues, does it?
Yeah, it's more like you can buy it for just standalone, it's fine. But if you, at least for 2, I bought the second opus standalone. But if you buy 1 and 2, then you have the map, like the massive map. Number 1 is the old kingdoms with humans, dwarfs, vampire count. Second one, it's my cat. Second one is the elves in the middle with the lizard men on the other side. And if you buy both 1 and 2, you can play with the whole world. And I guess the third one will expand east with chaos, dwarfs, ogres. So I guess if you have all the 3, you will have a really, really massive map, and that's going to be extremely fun. Because honestly, second one was very fun in itself, but once you have both and you can play on the very big map, it's really really cool. I don't know how it's called, the Egyptian, this the equivalent of Africa with the Egyptian undead. This is my favorite factions.
Yeah, I saw an announcement the other day. They were talking about they're adding a Chinese faction, or the Chinese equivalent faction.
Really? Okay, because
Yeah.
there's a faction in Faris, but I don't have much news. I know they're doing the Kislev, I think, the Russians. Kislev is very fun as well, so
Yeah, they're
I really
adding.
want to play it.
They call them Empire of Cathay or something like that. I'm not quite sure.
Oh, possible.
Yeah. But I just remember because one of the comments was somebody was like, "Oh, they make a game and they add the Chinese faction and they add a literal dragon lady." So that was the comment.
And I prefer to play the greenskins. They are fun. They are stupid, but they are fun.
All right. So anything else to say, Phil? I haven't played this one. So this is kind of similar to Rise to War, or is it like a kind of a strategy kind of thing, or?
Yeah, but it lacks the resets. It lacks the season resets. So the people who spend the biggest money, the people who played the longest, are always going to be years ahead of everybody else.
So you see yourself playing Lord of the Ring for years to come.
Weeks to come.
Maybe weeks to come.
We will see.
Months to
It does have its own problems. There are niggling issues, but at the moment, like because it's new and everybody's getting along, you can kind of overcome them. But whether in 3 seasons time, 6 months along the line, everybody's still raring to go. Everyone's starting to get a bit fatigued. We'll see, because it is heavy duty. I've said that before. Like you see from the live streams going on for like 7 or 8 hours, and even then I'm kind of like having to cut myself short and be like, right, okay, I'm going to bed now. It's 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. and I need to get some rest or something. And Sundays was a short one because I really wanted to go to bed early, and even that was like 2.5 hours, 3 hours or something. So it's easy to get sucked into losing time.
It's hard for me to figure out a mobile game can be that time consuming.
For me, it's kind of a
Just
mixed
not too
thing.
good.
I feel like there's a lot of waiting. Like at least I don't know. That's my experience with it. Like with Infinite Lagrange, and it's like, okay, I can control these guys, but I can't control them en route, so I have to wait till they get there, and they're going to get there in like 20 minutes. Okay, so I need to do something for 20 minutes,
Yes.
and then just make sure that it's always there in the background, and I'm always on it just to micromanage every little detail. But yeah, you come in as
Agreed,
a
but
tickle.
I don't know if you went to Phil's live. He never stopped talking, so even if
Oh, yeah.
he's waiting, I was like, "How's your throat not dead after all of this?" Always explaining something. So
We're teachers.
while
It's
I was,
a life skill.
while I was,
Yeah.
I was
that-
pestering with my advertisement in the middle. Hey,
That
I'm
first
here just to
weekend.
advertise in the-
So that first weekend was streaming like 14 hours, and I think I probably got about 1 hour of in-game stuff done.
Yeah, notice that like you go to you go to like a picture of Aragorn and you talk about Aragorn, and then you're talking about Legolas, but you're still on the screen with Aragorn. Yeah.
Well, that's
Alright.
cool.
That's
At
good.
least that's a lot of content. It's not just
Yeah.
empty space.
Oh yeah, and then people can pop in and pop out as they want. And good for everyone.
Yeah, that's quite good, because some people are asking
Exactly.
questions about evil factions. I never played evil factions, so it's good to have people come in and they can like help people out or offer recommendations. Was good. But I got told off by my faction. They told me I had to be careful what I streamed in case it was a sensitive battle procedure or tactical, situation. I wasn't to give it away on my live stream. Oh, here we are. We're all moving over to here, ready for the surprise attack in 2 hours' time. Oh, wait. Oh, sugar.
I can
So I was
imagine.
banned
Different from
from
our own
clicking
factions?
certain areas of the map. I was on in certain chat windows. I was only allowed to, censored.
Now do they allow you to lie and say we're going to be attacking over here, and then in reality go around that way? Yeah.
You try it off. I'll
Yeah.
just go my own way with like 5 people and make it look like it's an army. Guys, we're over here. We're fighting over here.
Exactly.
Surprise!
Okay, for me, my game this year was probably Hunter's Arena Legends, which, again, like Antoine, I kind of enjoyed the game, but I was just underwhelmed by it. There were a lot of things that it just wasn't up to standard, I guess. And yeah, it just playing it like I said, the characters were fun. You go into the fight, you grow them a bit. You get some levels up. You do some PVE. I like the PVE elements of it, but it just felt like it was underbaked. Because, for example, when you go out, you fight stuff. You can get your gear. You get your armor gear. And there only really seemed to be one set of each type. So there's only like, one set of weapons. And then it's like, rarity 1, rarity 2, rarity 3, rarity 4. And the same with armor. So there didn't seem to be a lot of the customization that you have in games like League of Legends or something like that, where you're going through and like in League of Legends, you have to go through, you go to the store, you earn your money, you go back to the store. And you can choose what do you want to build. Do you want to build stuff for crit? Do you want to build stuff for damage? Do you want to build stuff for lifesteal? Do you want to build stuff for, movement speed? And so you can kind of gear your character based on how things are going. But in this one, it was just flat upgrades. Just grab the better armor, grab the better armor, grab the better armor, grab the best armor. And that to me kind of made it a little less dynamic and a little less fun. And there was also the thing where you level up, you go into it and you level up, and you start off with, I think, what was it, 2 abilities, and then you get your ultimate later. And it just didn't really seem like there was much of a purpose to that, because in a game like League of Legends or something like that, you're adapting. So you might say like, okay, I want to grab these abilities first, and you kind of have a build order that you're gearing for, and you're getting slowly more powerful as it is. But here it's just kind of, you're at power level 1, and then suddenly you're at power level 2, and then that's the max level. And so it's just, you just gain into access to another ability, and it didn't really seem beneficial to do it that way, just because either I guess the idea is you don't want to just come right off the bat and attack somebody with your ult, which I guess could make sense, but then why do it with, but then of course it comes to the point where if you're level 6 and I'm level 4, you have your ult, I don't. And then it's just this kind of the same problem. So it's, having that ult could actually kind of be beneficial to defeating guys early on and whatnot. So overall, I think the gameplay itself was okay. I liked the characters, but it just really felt like it wasn't finished. It felt like, we built the first build of the game, and, later on we're going to add more stuff to it. We've just focused on the characters first, and we're going to work on the items later. And but other than that, I actually did enjoy it quite a bit. I felt like some characters definitely have huge advantages over others. They said, some are brawlers where they're more about, melee, or other ones are more tanky. For me, I found at least my style of play was to go with characters that were more ranged based and just deny you the ability to even get close to me. Even if the character was a little bit squishy, just being able to attack from range was a huge deal. But that's just my style. I know other people would use more like this guy that is fighting right now, where he's kind of a mid-range guy, where he's a melee guy, but he's kind of got that scorpion like get over here thing. But yeah, it was fun to play. But then once I was done streaming it, it was like, I'm done. I'm not going to go back and play this again. So unlike other games where I would play them off stream, or I have to force myself not to play them off stream, like other side, where I'm always like, I really want to play, but no, I'm saving everything for the stream. So I'm always like really eager to play it. This one was more like, okay, I'm going to stream it. It's fun while it lasts, but then once it's off stream, it's I just turn it off and switch over to Catherine or whatever else I was playing during the time. So I didn't really play this too much off stream. So that was my worst of 2021.
I feel you would have more fun playing For Honor. Did you try this one?
I did play For Honor. I played For Honor quite a bit with my friends back in the day. We played the first season, and we really enjoyed it. But then we played a little bit into the second season after they added the Centurion and the Ninja. And the more it went on, I don't remember why we stopped. We ended up moving into something else, I think. But I like the whole thing, like where you can kind of get your gear and you can build your weapon the way you want it. So it's kind of like, okay, do you want more poison damage, or do you want more life steal, or do you want more it takes up less energy or whatever. And I really did enjoy For Honor, but then it seemed to go, when it started off, it was really fun, and then it seemed to go kind of, because they leaned first into a little bit more realism, and it seemed like they were starting to lean more into that kind of fantasy kind of element, especially when they added in like the ninja, and he has these, shadow teleports and stuff like that. And I think some of the later classes are like that too. And then, yeah, and then originally when it started off, it was kind of, you were playing as a Nobushi, or you were playing as the shaman or whatever, And later on, it seemed to be, I guess they kind of went more that it was character focused. So you were playing a specific character rather than kind of a class. You're playing a character rather than a class, and they changed some things. So I haven't played it since a lot of the updates, but from what I've heard, it's changed quite a bit, and the changes are not ones that sound appealing to me. So, yeah. But I don't know. Maybe I should go back and play it sometime and see how it goes.
What other games can you think of that also? Because you said the leveling system you thought was a bit lazy,
Yeah, it was
like
just
the progression of
yeah.
yeah. What other games do you think are games that you found leveling systems to be horrible and horrific?
Oh, let's see. Games where the leveling is terrible. Yeah, this one I can't. This one I didn't like just because it's almost like a switch. It's like you're lower level, and then it's just bump 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 bump, and then boom, you gain all your abilities at once. So there was no tree, there was no. But I'm trying to think of anything else that's just got terrible leveling like that. I did not like the Disgaea series. I mean, it's a completely different game. That was a strategy RPG, but I hated that leveling system in that game because mostly, like, if you're playing a game like Final Fantasy Tactics or Tactics Ogre, Final Fantasy Tactics, everything you do, every action you take will give you some form of experience. So if you're healing somebody, you get experience. Or if you're attacking somebody, you get experience. Or if you're buffing something, or if you're, using some kind of ability that, builds rage on you or whatever. Every time you do something, you get experience for that. In Tactics Ogre, at the end of the battle, all your characters get experience. So everybody gets a flat amount of experience at the end of the fight. But in Disgaea, the only way to get experience is killing enemies. That's the only way to do it. And because of it, it meant your healers almost never leveled. And you would get one character, and it would make it that you'd get one character that would just snowball to an extreme amount, to where they would just, like, he's level 2 and everybody else is level 1. Well, because he's level 2, he does the most damage. He's the most likely to kill somebody. He's the most likely to get the kill, which means he's the most likely to continue leveling. And then it gets to the point where your enemies are like level 15. All your guys are level 5, with the exception of one guy that's level 30. And basically he has to solo the level because everybody else is too weak. Otherwise, what you have to do is you have to hope that you can get somebody down. You have to, like, look at the damage and you're like, okay, this guy has this much damage left. If I hit him, if I don't get a crit, he won't die. And you have to pray you don't get a crit. And then you have to avoid that character with your strong guy, and then go out of your way to have your little healers just whack him with a stick until he's dead so they can get experience. And I thought that was a terrible leveling method, because I'm like, come on, like, not everybody's a damage dealer. Why is all experience based on dealing damage? So I didn't like that system. I don't know if they changed it in later games. I only played the first one. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. If they did, fantastic. If they didn't, I didn't like that one. So I thought that was a horrible leveling system. And then the other one I didn't like was Final Fantasy X-2. X2. And that was just because normally in Final Fantasy, at the end of a fight, your characters gain experience. But you can swap characters in and out. So if, one character is stronger, you can swap them out for weaker characters, and you can kind of farm experience with the weaker characters. But in X2, you only get 3 characters. And when you start off, they're all of equal level. But if a character dies in the fight, if they're not alive at the end of the fight, they don't gain experience for that fight, which would give you the same problem where you would have, maybe 1 or 2 characters are stronger, or, the moment a character dies in a fight, they're immediately weaker than the other 2 characters, which means that they're more likely to die in the future, which, again, can kind of snowball. So you can farm it, but then yeah, it's so you can't farm it by going back down to a lower level and fighting lower level dudes. But yeah, I didn't like the fact that if you only have 3 characters, I feel like they should all be of equal level, not all over the place. My opinion.
All
Yeah.
good. You want to go on to the news?
Oh, we can go into the news. We got some good news and we got some bad news today. We'll start with some good news. Sound good? I got 3
Yeah.
pieces of news today. Antoine knows one of them. The other 2, he might not. Okay, so first of all, we have... So Razer and Qualcomm are going to be building their own gaming peripheral. It's going to be a portable gaming device. It's going to be running on Snapdragon, which is Qualcomm's chip base, I guess. And it's designed for 2 things. So this is designed specifically to play Android games, but it's also designed for streaming. So some people are saying that this might actually be it on the surface. It's not a competitor for the Steam Deck because it's not going to be able to play PC games in the way the Steam Deck is able to do. However, if streaming does become popular, especially with things like xCloud or Nvidia or Stadia, then this might be a much cheaper alternative to the Steam Deck if you're looking for something that's streaming, because you're still going to get those same games at relatively the same quality as long as you have a decent internet connection. So this is something that maybe keeping an eye on, but again, it's mostly designed for streaming and Android games, which, quite frankly, an Android phone can do. So if you have those things that you can clip onto the sides, are you getting any real advantage out of it? I don't really know. So what's your guys' opinion on this? Do you think this is a wise product design, or do you think it's kind of a weird niche thing that isn't really necessary?
It really depends on the price, I would say.
Yeah, they haven't released a price yet, so but people have been
If
speculating.
If it's cheap, why not? But otherwise,
Yeah.
I mean, you already have your mobile phone, so why would you need a mobile console for the Android games?
Yeah, I don't know if you're for the Android games. I mean, I guess not every phone is the best gaming phone in the world. For example, my it's decent. It can run stuff pretty well, but I mean, it gets hot after a while. It can heat up pretty quickly. The battery life's not too bad. But I guess this is the difference here, is that this is specifically designed for gaming as opposed to a mobile device, which is designed for multiple functionality. So I guess you can be a little more efficient about it, go a little bit harder into the graphics, and then probably design a battery that's more designed for extended use as opposed to being idle most of the time. Like a phone can last for over 24 hours, but you're not using it for, most people aren't using it for more than 15 minutes, half an hour at a time. You pull it out, you look at it, you browse some news, you get off the bus, you put it in your pocket. This, I guess, is designed for longer play sessions. So I think there is a place for it, but again, yeah, I'm with you. I think if you can just get the good clips to put on the side, you've effectively already have this. It already exists. So, also, this doesn't look like it would fit in your pocket very well.
Nope.
How about you, Phil? What do you think? Would you be
Oversaturated market? I don't think there's particularly. I think it'd be one of those things that comes and goes.
Yeah. So that's the first piece of news. The second piece of news, which is still good news, I guess. I don't know. It depends on your opinion. Spartacus, which is the new PlayStation Game Pass competitor that is going to be coming out. It's not quite clear what it is, but from initial looks, it appears that there's going to be 3 different tiers. So the first tier is basically just what PlayStation Plus is now. Second tier is basically what PlayStation Plus is now, plus an instant library of games that you would have access to. And then the third tier would basically be a combination of PlayStation Plus and PlayStation Now, where you get all the stuff from PlayStation Plus, but you also get game streaming of pretty much mostly older Sony games. So, PS1, PS2 era. PS3 people are a little bit skeptical on, just because the PS3 was notoriously bizarre in its design, and it's just really hard to emulate as a result. But yeah, so this is one of the things Korean has asked me this question before. But would you guys be interested in some sort of Game Pass like choice where you can subscribe and get access to all these games for the length of your subscription?
Not for myself. I don't even do PS Plus right now because I'm not playing PlayStation enough for that. When it's our age and you don't play 12 hours a day, there's no point. If I was younger and I had, this is the only thing I was doing, maybe, yeah, that would be interesting. But right now, I'd rather go and have my Steam sales on PC. So,
What about you, Phil?
plus, I guess it must be
Okay.
subscription based, I guess.
It's subscription based, and yeah, it'll be. I guess tier 2 is going to be kind of like Game Pass, where there's a library of games and you can download them, and then tier 3 I think is supposed to be streaming, which will be like xCloud.
Extended demos, game streaming, and backwards compatibility.
Yeah.
It could be fun if you have time to spend on it on the PlayStation. Yeah.
Well, like PS Now is on PC,
Yeah.
so this might be
again-
on PC. I don't know
Again, too many backlog in the Steam library, so
exactly. Yeah, I'm kind of like I don't know. I like buying my games. I don't know if I want to do this subscription thing. What about you, Phil?
I was checking the prices. They reckon that the basic level is going to be around about $20, which is going to mean you're probably going to want at least the second level. So I don't know. I think it's too rich for my blood. Again, like my playtime is not consistent enough in a month that I would be willing to spend $30 on a subscription pack that maybe some months I would never use.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
it would be more aimed at students. But students, do they really have that much money to spend?
$20 a month?
That's what. No, that's okay. We played Warcraft.
That's for the lowest level, though. You're going to need the
Mhm.
second level, aren't you? Really, to get the games, to have the Game Pass style.
The
system.
lowest level is
$30,
$20. Isn't PlayStation and isn't PS Plus only 15, right?
It says currently PlayStation Now and PlayStation Plus are $10 a month. The price will likely be somewhere within the range of those combined.
Well, that would be for
So,
tier 3 though, because tier 1 is basically just Plus, what it is now. The tier 3 is the one that combines them.
Oh, maybe.
So it could be ranging anywhere between $10 to $20. Which, if you're doing the $10 thing, then there's no difference to what you're doing now. So no change. Yeah, I don't.
Which
I don't
means
know.
I think it'd be more expensive than that, wouldn't you? Otherwise, everybody would get it. It just wouldn't make sense not to get it.
What do you mean the third tier?
Oh, will they phase out? Will they phase out PlayStation Plus then? PlayStation. Yeah,
I think
PS
the idea
Plus.
is that they're yeah, exactly. They're going to be replacing PS Now and PS Plus and combining them into one service, but the service is going to be tiered. So you can choose for basic level, mid level, or high level. Yeah, so they're just merging.
I've not paid for PlayStation Plus for since I was playing Outriders. When was that? Like about 7 months ago.
Yeah. Oh, you don't need it for your wife doesn't need it for Ghost of Tsushima multiplayer?
She has it.
She has PS Plus.
She has a Taiwanese account.
Oh, okay. Well, then somebody has PS Plus.
But I mean, I can't get on the PlayStation, so it's irrelevant.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I have PS Plus, but I was like, really? You don't have PS Plus? What? Oh, but yeah, I don't have two accounts. I don't have an American account and a Taiwanese account. I only have a Taiwanese account. So.
I thought you had two. I
No.
got you twice on my friends list.
Yeah, but I don't have PS Plus on the American account.
Oh, okay. I see what you mean. You've got the two accounts, but you only have it paid for them.
Yeah. I have two accounts, but the American account, I don't have PS Plus on it. Because why would I need? Because I mean, the biggest benefit arguably would be sales, or the free games, and the free games are going to be are 95% of the time the same on the US as they are in Taiwan. So I could double dip and get a US version and a Taiwanese version of the same game. And then for sales, typically the same games are on sale. So why do I need two accounts? Occasionally there are
I know, because
differences.
So yeah, Zoe always used to go on, but when I do, sometimes I'll have my UK account. Now I've got a Taiwanese account as well, so because I can go to the shop much easier and get a card. But when I used to have the UK one and pay for it, she would go through all of the sales on the
Yeah.
Taiwanese store, and then she would switch to my account, and she'd go through all of the sales on my account, and then she'd be like, "Oh, why is Assassin's Creed or Grand Theft Auto cheaper on yours than mine?"
Yeah, sometimes
So I guess
sometimes
there's
there's
some
differences.
things.
Yeah, some things are different. Like for example, in Taiwan, for me, it's mostly the language thing. So like in Taiwan, for example, Valkyria Chronicles, they don't have the English version of Valkyria Chronicles here. They only have the Chinese version. Whereas on the U.S. store, I can get it, the English version. Usually, games will release with a Chinese Korean version and a Japanese English version, or they'll release a version here that has Japanese, Korean, Chinese, and English all in one version. So they'll do that quite a bit, but occasionally you get games that are not. You can't get the English version of games here, and that's what I mostly use my American account for. Are those games? But yeah, other than
Happened the
that,
first time with my Outriders. I bought Outriders from the store, and they told me it was the English version, and obviously I can't read it. And I got back, and there was no English version.
that
Zoe ended up selling it secondhand to get most of the money back, and then I just bought it online.
yeah. For me, it was there was a mistake one time where was it one of the Tomb Raiders was on sale and I bought it and I ended up I I remember thinking it was supposed to be the English version when I bought it, and then when I went to play it, it was like, nope, this is Korean. And I'm like, why is this Korean? This is Korean and Chinese. Um, and then I looked at the store and there was no English version, so I was like, well, why? It's so weird. But whatever. I remember I bought it on sale, so so that's the first piece of news. Second piece of news you may have heard of. So the vice president of PSN has been busted for hiring the services of a 15-year-old boy. So apparently what happened was there is a vigilante group. I don't remember what they're called exactly, but they basically catfish pedophiles is their MO. And so what they did was they went and posed as a 15-year-old boy and got in contact with men. And they posted, and it was posted by a YouTuber, or I think it was a YouTuber or like some Twitter guy, and it was weird that this guy was posting it because when he was the one posting it, I guess people say that he's the account is kind of one of those sensationalist kind of accounts that just does things for attention. So when it first came out, some people were thinking, "Oh, this is fake. This isn't real." But anyway, the video, they had the conversation, which is pretty graphic, and then in the video, somebody goes up to this guy's house. He's standing outside. They approach him. He basically is like, "What are you doing here?" And he starts to go into his house, and then they start yelling at him through the door, about how he's a pedophile and how he was trying to hook up with a 13-year-old boy. So again, because of the video, it was very hard to verify whether this person was in fact a pedophile. So our beautiful pedo bear there, and in fact, he was wearing that exact shirt in the video. But what happened was, so at first, because I saw this and I was looking around at the news and there wasn't too much news on it. So I was thinking, oh, maybe this is fake. Well, the next day, there was an article on it on, there were a few articles on it. And then the day after that, and Sony announced that this guy has been fired. So I am assuming that this is actually true. And that this is a real thing and not just some troll thing. So yeah, the fact that Sony fired the guy within basically 24 hours of this going newsworthy is pretty big. And a lot of people, when it first came out, were making a lot of jokes, particularly given the Activision and their sexual harassment things going on, and Sony and Nintendo and Microsoft all made a stance, and then almost right after that, this guy, with his trying to illicit services. But then, yeah, Sony was on top of it, and they were like, nope, you're out. Sorry, bye. So, yeah, I don't know. It was fortunate news. Antoine looks like he wants to say something.
No, no, I was just thinking it's a good way to end the show.
Yeah, because Korean hates negative things, so this is a great way. We'll go out on the most perfectly negative thing you could possibly talk about. Yeah, that's right. So this is a great time to end the show. So that way Korean doesn't have to worry about being here. And we should have something far more positive next week to go on. I believe next week we are going to be doing basically games that we wanted to play this year but just didn't have time. So we're putting them in the backlog for next year, if I remember correctly. So that will be our theme this next week. Yes, we actually have a theme in advance. It's good. It's not
Yay!
it's not going to be we're randomly going to do something and we're going to surprise you. No, it's none of that.
Sorry, I have to go. So goodbye in advance.
All right. Yeah, that's a good timing to go to. All right, so we're going to call it a night or a day, depending on where you are, and we will see you all again next week. So have a lovely week, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.